Hi, all. Welcome back to the Cosmic Cafe, the companion podcast to thecosmiccircus.com. We have a fun episode today because we're talking to the folks behind Disney's The Ghost and Molly McGee. We have Bill Motz and Bob Roth on the show. I hope you enjoy. Here we go. All right. Well, hi. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you for having us.
Yeah, so I'm Ayla Ruby from the Cosmic Circus, and I have Bill Motz and Bob Roth here, and I was hoping you guys could tell me a little bit about yourselves before we got started.
You want to kick it off, Bill? Go ahead.
I will kick it off. Bob and I met at a USC summer production workshop back in the aughts of 1990 in the summer, and we bonded over our mutual love of Star Wars, which was. Of course, where George Lucas went to school, right? So that's why we did the summer production workshop. We made a short film together, live action, which in retrospect really looked like a live action.
It's a live action cartoon, yeah.
And but we really worked well together. We meshed well, and Bob moved to LA the following year, I guess, right? And
summer of '91,
right? And then I ended up moving. We started working together. I'd fly out from Colorado to Bob's place in LA, and we'd work on script.
Sleep on the floor of my studio apartment.
Yes, exactly. And then Disney hired us on staff in I guess early of '92.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
I'm Darkwing Duck.
So I moved my my very pregnant wife to LA for us to start working at Disney, and my son was born during the LA riot, so it was just a real strange beginning.
Oh, wow. Well, Darkwing Duck was my childhood, so I'm so excited to talk to you guys, and I know we're not talking about that, but like I'm very happy for that show.
Darkwing holds a special place in our heart.
Absolutely, yeah.
So we're here to talk about The Ghost and Molly McGee. And I was hoping you kind of tell us a little bit about what the show is, because it's amazing, first of all.
Thank you.
But really, like, how do you describe it if someone didn't know about it?
So the first line of our series Bible is this is the story of a ghost and the girl who brings him back to life. And that really sums up the show quickly. It's about this bright, optimistic girl named Molly McGee. She moves to this new town. She's very excited to turn her parents have bought this fixer-upper house, and she's very excited to turn the attic into her loft art space bedroom. It's going to be the coolest thing. The problem is there's already a ghost who lives there, and he's not willing to give up his room. So they battle it out. They come to loggerheads. He's not going to leave. She's not going to leave. And so he says, "Fine, Molly McGee, I'm going to put a curse on you. Wherever you go, whatever you do, I will be there, haunting you, tormenting you, making your every living moment a living nightmare." And then she goes, "Wait, so you're going to be everywhere I go and do everything I do? That sounds like a best friend to me. This is fantastic." And his reaction is, "Wait, what? That's not what I intended. Hold on, wait. And so now he's dragged along on all her misadventures she has as a tween girl. And the funny thing is he eventually, or not even eventually, pretty quickly is charmed by her and they become best friends. So it's a buddy comedy about these two unlikely friends, one living, one dead, and how they go through life in the afterlife together. And that's the elevator pitch of the show.
Now this is season 2 that's starting in April. There are some new characters coming. There's a lot of cool stuff happening. And I'm going to kind of jump right into it because I know there's been a lot of talk and excitement about a character that's coming that's neurodivergent. And, I saw the pilot, or not the pilot, I saw the first episode of the second season. And I was wondering if you guys were able to talk about that without being, too spoilery, or, talk about the reaction.
No, we can't say anything about it. No, I'm kidding. So you're talking about June Chen, who is the Chens are the new neighbors who move in across the street in the first episode of season 2, and they really turn Molly and Scratch's world upside down. The Chens themselves seem like they're going to be the perfect fit for the McGees. They're these great people who mesh completely with the McGee family, except the problem is they're ghost hunters. And the youngest of the Chens is a girl named June Chen, and she is autistic, and she's played by Sue-Ann Pien, who is likewise autistic and brought her authenticity to the role. And we all just love June. There's some you get some tastes of her in the first episode, The New Paranormal. There's some stuff coming up with her. She has some of the funniest moments, I think, of the season where I don't want to spoil what happens. June is a special character. She sparkles in every scene she's in.
Mm-hmm. And she and Daryl have a special bond. They kind of find their way through together, which is
find their mischief together. Yeah.
And can you talk about, I think representation is so important. I think it's awesome to see characters like you on the screen, and, also characters that are not like you. Can you talk about the process and the thought behind, like, what made you want to bring, June to life? Can you talk about that?
Sure. You want to take it, Bill? Or you want me?
Well, I mean, we can both jump in on this, I think. But I think part of it was that, we did think it was important to have that representation. We certainly have people on our team that are autistic and wanted to sort of see themselves as well in the show. And I think we just kind of felt like there was a nice opportunity to sort of round out our world with just more interesting real characters that reflect our world. And I know, Bob, do you remember exactly what the origin was? That's what I was trying to think.
Hard to. It was 2 years ago, so and then in pandemic time, so everything kind of a blur.
It's like 20 years at this
Yeah,
point.
exactly. But the kind of mantra of it all for the whole show is that specificity breeds universality, right? Like the more specific you get with your characters, the more interesting quirks or sides or facets of them you find. The more they play for a bigger audience, and paradoxically, the more you find things that are interesting that you haven't seen 100 times before with a character, the more that makes them stand out and be unique, which weirdly enough makes them more of a magnet for people's attention. People start to see themselves even if they're not neurodivergent or autistic.
And we made that decision before the show even premiered.
Yeah,
we were deep into second season before the show even premiered originally for season 1. So this was something that just came organically out of the show itself. And one of the things that's been very nice is to get feedback from our fans to say how much they appreciate seeing themselves on screen in different ways, or how relatable it is to see characters that are like them, and refreshing. Yeah,
just seeing on social media how many people are excited by the few little glimpses they've seen of June so far, and they're like, "This is fantastic. I'm autistic. I'm seeing myself on screen." Means so much to me. Like I can't wait for them to get more tastes of June, because she's so charming and wonderful.
I can't wait to see what the rest of the season has in store for her. And, in addition to the new family across the street, some big things are happening for Scratch without, spoilers. Are we going to learn more about him and, his background before he became a ghost this season?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's part of the fun.
Not much we can say without spoilers.
Without spoiling. But one of the things that we have always wanted to do was to sort of explore a little bit about Scratch's past, a little more about Scratch's story, and we get that opportunity in season 2. So we're pretty excited about that.
Awesome. So they're guest stars. I think Tony Hale is a guest star. Can you, is there anything really exciting with the guest stars that you can share?
Tony Hale is fantastic. I don't want to spoil too much about his role. Who else? We got a bunch of them. W. Earl Brown. I don't want to. The problem is we can't say too much about any of the
I know, which is really funny. But Jim Rash.
Rash, Oscar winner Jim Rash is going to be on the show as a dance instructor, and he is hysterical.
Yeah.
Wow.
Really funny. Vincent Rodriguez will be a reoccurring character throughout the season and is brilliant. I don't know. It's kind of fun, but what's nice about these guest characters coming in and bringing extra new energy into the series is there's always a little bit of the unexpected of what they will bring to a role, and I think we have a lot of fun with that.
Oh, absolutely. So I actually have some other questions about season one, because one,
Bring 'em on.
there's one thing that really stuck out for me from season one, and that was, I think, the episode Game Night. And there's
One
like
of our favorites.
One of our favorites.
it was like Mega City, I think, was the
Yes.
name of the game. So
Mhm.
do one of you guys have like a mock-up of this game somewhere in the office, or
I wish
is that
I wish we would. I mean, here's the problem. If we did, we would waste all our time just playing Mega City. I love shout out to Sarah Keeley and I'm blanking on Tara's last name. Tara, our awesome prop designers. They bring so much detail and specificity to everything we asked them to design, and they really went to town on Mega City. So there was a lot in the script. I think we had a lot in there for them to draw on, but they took it even further with like little tiny details that I desperately want to play it like you do.
What's so fun about all of our designers is they just plus everything at every turn, and I'm still catching little details. Even episodes I've seen, over and over and over again, I suddenly go, wait, what's that little thing?
The show is designed for your pause button.
Yeah, and it's just so funny to just read all sorts of things. There was just actually an episode we were just reviewing yesterday that I caught this little detail I'd never seen before, and it just made me laugh.
Oh, wow. So you guys mentioned that, there's a lot of stuff in the script. There's a lot of like details and all of that in the scripts, but I'm so curious about, how you get from the kernel of an idea to, to a script.
Sure.
To, how that process starts, especially with animation. Like, do you guys have a writer's room? Do you pitch? What's the deal?
We absolutely do have a writer's room. And the process, I'll take it back even further than you asked. Like when we sit down at the beginning of a season, we know we've got 40 stories we got to fill. Roughly 40. Like, some of them are going to be two-parters that take up 22 minutes. But we know we got to fill these 40 11-minute slots with something. So we talk about what are the arcs for the season going to be? What are they going to be the through lines that take us from episode 1 all the way to the end? We talk about, what kind of things we just sort of blue sky, like, hey, what kind of stories do we want to talk about? What sort of topics do we want to hit? What sort of just silliness do we want to do? We want to do a bunch that are just silly romps. What are those going to be? So once we get those, and we like to leave ourselves a little wiggle room by the end of that. So like once we get like 36 of those, we feel like, okay, that gives us room to, improvise as the season moves forward. All right, so now we're in the season. We're chugging along. Scripts, premises, outlines are all moving. We, as the writer's room, we start working our way through them. Somebody says, hey, I want to take a shot at that story up there, the one where Molly can only say yes and Scratch can only say no, just for instance. So, and that one was written by Sammy Crowley. Shout out to her. She's awesome. Sammy would write a one-page premise of it, just sort of like, hey, here's the beginning, here's the middle, here's the end. Nothing's thought out in too much detail, but you should get the gist of the story from that. We approve it. The executives give their thoughts on it. From there, it goes to an outline that is like 4 to 5 pages long. It's a little more detailed. And from there, same process. We approve it. We give our suggestions, tell them what we want, what we don't want. And from there, Sammy would take the script. And again, the executives would give their thoughts. Now they're seeing more detail and getting where we're going, even sharper picture. From there, it goes to a pretty complete script, which runs about 13, 14 pages. Then I can keep going if you want me to.
No, but yeah, well, then
No,
it's not done yet, right? Because we then we punch it up. So we do a few
drafts of the script, and then it goes to punch up. Where, go ahead, Bill. Yeah.
Oh, then they pitch out any ideas, thoughts, jokes that they have. Now the script balloons into a giant document of like 60 pages.
The script becomes unwieldy large.
Yeah.
I sit at this desk right here. Go. And then no, yes, no. Get it back down to 14 pages.
But then similarly, then, what happens is we record the script. The actors also have room to improvise and add.
And Dana and Ashley are great at that. So
yeah, which is
we always want to make sure there's room for them to add their flourishes and add.
Then board artists likewise add their flourishes and pluses, and then when it's all put together in animatic, we go through again. We decide, is that working? Should that be this or that? And we revise it again if we have to in animatic.
Sometimes it's just the way you imagined it and works better than you could ever imagine. And sometimes it's like, oh boy, we got some work to do.
Yeah.
Now I know we're getting close on time, so I wanted to. I have so many questions, but I really quickly wanted to ask.
Lightning round.
So season 3, is that maybe on the horizon? Are you still kind of hoping?
Well, so here's the thing: we're like every other TV show on Earth. If enough people watch season 2, we'll make a season 3. We would happily do it. But we need people to tune in to the Disney Channel on April 1st and Disney Plus on April 2nd. And also, we heard just the other day we're going to be live on YouTube for the first episode, April 1st. So
that's awesome.
If you love Molly McGee, watch all of them simultaneously.
All of the screens.
Yeah, all of the screens going all the time, 24/7. We would love to make a season 3. Enough people need to watch season 2 to make that happen.
That's fair. Is there anything else about the show that you want people to know, either about season 2 or just overall, that we haven't talked about that you really want to get out there?
I think the show's core is about hope. Bob and I like doing humor, heart, and hope in our shows, and I think there's no cynicism in this show. That life is tricky enough, right? There's enough that's going on. So the idea that maybe even if we don't do it perfectly, we can make a little difference in the world, that's something we like to put out there. And hopefully the audience will be able to watch the show and say, yeah, maybe in my community, my family, my area, something I can make some small difference that could lead to bigger changes.
This show is going to make you happy. Like you're not going to get to the end of it and feel like, oh, I'm depressed I watched that.
My daughter loves Molly, so I think the show, totally fits that.
That's you've made our day.
Yep, thank you for saying that.
Yeah, I mean, I love this because I get to watch all these shows with her, and I get to do it under the guise of work, but it's also awesome.
When you can make work play, it's
exactly. Can you guys talk about anything you're working on next, or what's in the horizon for you?
I mean, right now
we're always dabbling, right? So I think as creators and writers, you were constantly, like Molly McGee was in our head. It turns out it's been 15 years since we first came up with the germ of an idea for that. We've been likewise working on a graphic novel with a buddy that's
for about the same amount of time,
almost the same amount of time.
It's very different from Molly.
Very different. It's a more YA sci-fi kind of thing, and it's very fun. We are also
it'll probably be another 15 years before we're done with it. So.
And we're pitching around a 4-quadrant family animated sitcom.
Oh, that sounds exciting.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
But also,
both so
right
much.
now, there's a lot of wood left to chop on Molly McGee.
Yes.
Yeah. There's stories left to tell.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes.
Okay, that's awesome. And I think we're at time, so I want to make sure I'm respecting that. So thank you both so much.
Thank you so much, Ayla. It was great meeting you.
Yeah, it was lovely meeting you. Yeah, hopefully we'll get a chance to talk again. I will. Well, we're gonna watch, the rest of the episodes because we didn't quite finish season 1 together. So.
Oh, good.
Get on it. Get on
it. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ayla.
Thank you for listening. You can find the companion article for this podcast, along with all the other news for those who like superheroes, science fiction, and fantasy, films, TV shows, and other media at thecosmiccircus.com. Have a great day.